Hi, it's me again. I know it's been a long time since I made a new video, but back again. I just do this routinely, this thing where I kind of share new music I found that I like, new collectibles, odds and ends, new movies. I'm kind of just a collector. I'm not like a super dedicated collector, but I do go to like CD stores or like stores full of figurines, sometimes comic book stores. So this is just to stay in touch with people who follow me and maybe kind of just share for fun, get some conversations going or just stay active. So I'm back with another video. I'm just gonna start with probably talking about everything I've had added to my collection since the last time I made one of these. So to begin with, I'll start with music because music is mostly what I do lately. So I guess I'll talk about Dead Can Dance because I'm obsessed with Dead Can Dance. They're like the most inspirational band to me right now. I got these CDs. I really like this one, this Serpent's Egg. It has one of my favorite songs by them on it. It has In the Kingdom of the Blind, the One-Eyed are King. I like how that song starts up really slow and kind of just, I don't know how to explain it, but it just like really grabs me every time I listen to it. Their music just inspires me because there's nothing else like it. They use like all kinds of instruments. I used to like their first album the most, but now these two albums, as well as a couple others, I pretty much just get under my skin every time I listen to them. I also bought this vinyl, which is really large, so it takes up the whole screen. It's the soundtrack to the movie Demons, which I really like. It's about a bunch of people who go to a movie theater and they're watching a horror movie inside this horror movie, and then suddenly like somebody touches one of the movie props that's on display and they all get infected and start turning each other into zombies. It's wild and just like it's very stylistic because while the people are getting killed in the movie theater, they're also getting killed inside the movie. So like you see it cuts to the movie that everybody's watching, then it cuts back to real life where people are dying in the bathroom of the movie theater. It's like it's wild, it's wacky. I like it. But this vinyl, like I don't have a huge vinyl collection, but I saw this and I'm like, wow, that's really cool. Because I just like the colors, how it looks. I think that's the mask that the person touches when they start the whole crisis by touching the movie prop. I'm pretty sure that's what that image right there is of. But yeah. I'd like to also talk about this CD that I was grateful to be a part of. I wrote 2 songs on this, and the other songs were written by my friend who plays drums and sings and made this artwork. I made the back artwork right here. It's kind of hard to see, but yeah. There's 6 tracks on here, and we released it. It's on Bandcamp, so you can go check that out. The name of the band is Postmortem Superstar. It's kind of like, it's very eclectic in style, and it goes all over the place. It's got beautiful modulated sections and sections that sound almost kind of black metal. It's very subjective. People who describe it have described it in many different ways. So if you'd like to check that out, I was really grateful to be part of that. That's Postmortem Superstar on Bandcamp. I'd also like to give a shout out to this band Cosmic Sea. They are really amazing. They play black metal, and they played shows with the band I was just talking about, and they're really cool. I got to hang out with them, and I really enjoyed their company, and I think that they're true music lovers. And I think everybody should go check out their music, which is on Spotify and other places, and their live shows if you can, because they're really amazing live. This is actually one of my favorite movies, and I've only seen it once. It's called Death Dream, and it's about a family who believes their son has died in the war, and he returns home anyway. And they thought he was dead, so they're happy at first, but then he's acting very strange, like he has no emotions, like he's a zombie. and the movie just gets really grim really fast. A lot of the horror movies I watch are like campy and funny and make me want to laugh, but this one is actually an old horror movie that really just gets me in a super serious mood, and that's why I've only seen it once. But it's one of my favorite movies, and the ending is super brutal, which I don't want to spoil it for you, but it goes into a graveyard. And that's always a good place to go in a horror movie. So I was at CD Trader in Tarzana, and I was actually able to find this collection of Nightmare on Elm Street movies. This has like, I don't know, 6 or 7 different Nightmare on Elm Street movies. I haven't even opened it yet. It's cool that I can have them all now and check them out anytime I want. But I recommend going to CD Trader in Tarzana because they have a great selection of music and DVDs and movies. I think that's where I found the other 2 things I just mentioned, but I'm not sure. Anyway, I love Nightmare on Elm Street, especially Dream Warriors. Definitely one of those movie series that I don't watch it a lot, but whenever I do, I'm enjoying it. I've been reading some new stuff and some old stuff. This is actually really old. This is called The King in Yellow by Robert Chambers. This was published in the 1890s, and this author was an inspiration and an influence on H.P. Lovecraft. The first few, or maybe first 4 stories in this book are short stories. They have supernatural qualities. Inside this story, there's this play. It's called The King in Yellow. And if somebody reads it, they go crazy. And so that's a common theme in each of the first handful of stories in here. And there's just other creepy aspects of the stories. I don't want to spoil it, but there's also like a fictional deity, like a very ambiguous godlike figure that's very spooky and haunting to the characters that are kind of losing their minds. And actually there's also other types of stories towards the end. The genre changes, and the other short stories in this book are just various kinds. There's a romance story, and there's like a war story too. But I really like the first like 4 stories, I think. And just it's interesting to read stories from a different period. So I actually enjoyed all the stories in this. It was fascinating to me. It was just different styles. I'm a big fan of the movie Pumpkinhead. And so when I found these comic books in a comic book store not that long ago, I was happy. Based on the art, I wasn't even sure if it was from the movie, but it is. It was initially intended as a Dark Horse publication of 4 issues, but it was never finished. So these 2 issues are the only issues that exist of it. The story is actually really engaging. It tells a story about the witch from the movie and her daughter and someone she falls in love with, and the monster, of course, comes and ruins everybody's plans. There's someone hunting the monster or the witch. It's like, it's an interesting story. It's a shame it was never finished, but I love the artwork. The artwork is really badass. Yeah, I think these are amazing, and I love the creature effects and just the creature design from the movie Pumpkinhead, the story. So these are really cool. I also recently found these comic books based on Anne Rice's publication Interview with the Vampire. I don't know much about these, but I found 4 of them actually, and I thought that was really cool. I thought it was a good excuse to talk about how much I love Interview with the Vampire and Vampire Lestat, the Vampire Chronicles. I've only read the first few. I read Interview with the Vampire Lestat, and Queen of the Damned. They really pulled me in, and I really enjoyed them a lot. Especially the Vampire Lestat, which I think was my favorite. I just really breezed through that one. I just found these in a random bin at a used bookstore. I was really inspired by her writings, and I was really sad to hear of her passing recently too, so rest in peace. That's a major inspiration on me. This is one of my favorite things that I picked up since I've made my last video. These are comic books. They're like anthologies. They each have like 2 or 3 short stories in them. They're all like supernatural horror, kind of like Tales from the Crypt or something. But Boris Karloff is drawn in and presenting them like he's the show host of the comic book. And it's really cool. Like there was one where they would go up into the icy mountains and find some creature that takes over their body or something. It's like there's all kinds of like hauntings and monster attacks. Like there was one where there was a big yard full of statues and all the statues came to life and started attacking the residents of a mansion. I don't know. I like stuff like this. I found it at the Mystic Museum, which I like going there. They always have interesting stuff there. It's a great place. So, yeah, really cool comic books that I found. I was at a convention or something where there was all kinds of vendors selling odds and ends, people selling artwork, people selling attire, people selling coffee and tea. I found this one table where candles were being sold, and I really enjoyed the fact that all the candles had names based on like movies that I happened to like. Like there was one named Haxon, for example. I thought that was cool. They all have like bats on them or skulls inside, and it's like they're just cute, and they actually smell really good. You can't smell it, but it smells really good. So trust me. But thank you for the candles. Here's her card. You can look her up on Instagram, but there's even a card to tell you how to take care of your candle. This is also one of my favorite things that I've come upon since the last time I made a video. This is a figurine from the movie Subspecies. I love the movie Subspecies and all of its sequels. Even the last one, which was kind of weird and got a little sci-fi or something. But Subspecies is like one of my favorite vampire movies. The first one is just a classic vampire tale. There's some students studying a region that they're traveling to, and they stumble upon this castle, and the vampire Radu is stalking them and attacking them. But I love the guy who plays the vampire Radu. He portrays Radu like in a classical vampire way, like Nosferatu or something. And I also like the second movie because it introduces the character who's Radu's mother, who's like an ancient vampire. She's so old that she's like a mummy and she's decaying. I love those movies. They're by Full Moon Productions, who did Puppet Master and Castle Freak and Seed People. I love those movies. I love all those movies. He like has real hair and he's all detailed and looks all creepy and stuff. You can barely see it. But I just collect things like this from time to time. If I see something that's from a movie that I love, that I really like, I will get it even if I don't have a lot of similar things. Like my collection of figurines is not that much. I have like 20 or 25 collectibles similar to this. But if I see something and it's from something I love, I get it sometimes. One of the figurines I found was the Nazgul from The Lord of the Rings, one of the ring wraiths. One of the action figures based on the trilogy directed by Peter Jackson. I've been reading some of the books and I played some of the video games. When I was young as a teenager, I must have watched those movies more than 100 times, and I still love them. But yeah, I mean, the ring wraiths, the Nazgul, the Nine, they obviously look really cool. They're like cloaked, and they're basically men who have been corrupted by one of the rings of power, and they're really creepy. Maybe they're creepier in the movies, maybe they're creepier in the books. In the very first book, it actually describes one of them as like crawling along the ground towards the hobbits, like a spider, like all creepy or something. But in the movie, it shows them more as like just slow-moving, dark, clad in dark robes, kind of like undead, never dying because of the powers that have been bestowed on them, but they just look really cool. Most of the other stuff I collect is like horror movies stuff, but it's not all. Some of it's high fantasy swords and sorcery. Okay, anyway, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to touch base with everybody and stay active. I'm still going to be posting videos of myself playing guitar, maybe footage of my bands playing. But that's it. I was just saying hello. Please feel free to interact and say maybe you have found some similar things or you like any of these items that I've talked about, and I'll reply. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. See everybody around. Bye.